So the title of this video, hopefully I'm gonna remember this and make it that, or at least the introduction, is how a woman can change the world. How a woman can basically manipulate reality and cause it to be better or worse. I think ultimately, for the nature of women and the average woman alive, a lot of it comes down to your interactions with men, honestly. Women charm men, women control men. They do. Women control a lot of men's decision making. And men take seriously the energy that you give them. They take things more literal. And they don't understand naturally. A lot of men aren't going to understand things that women do. Myself included. And that's interesting because I'm transgender, so I was born a woman. But I think it still holds true. But I mean, a lot of it, is both just every man that you come across or in your life, and then there's also dating, and it's kind of two separate categories, honestly. Women, I mean, it's not just men, it's especially children too, but it's everybody. It's other women and other women's confidence. Women are more social creatures, and I think women need each other. Well, men can maybe, a lot of men, like in general, might, some of us have the qualities where we like independence. There's also there's variations of different kind of people within just a group that you can be attached to as your own person. So, there's individuality take into consideration, and that holds heavy in the topic I'm talking about. I try to be sensitive about that, but so I'll just say I mean a generalization, and maybe the average given person within a group that I'm talking about. But I mean, the energy that a woman gives socially, a woman can really change the energy of a social situation. Women are more energetic, I think. They work more with energy, while men are more literal and about physical reality in a way. And it differs from person to person. Some men are going to be more inclined to be better in fields that the average woman would be better at. You could find women that are less inclined to that than some given man. So there's that to take into consideration too, obviously. But basically the average woman, I mean, her imagination of things, and women's imaginations are strong. Her imagination of things and whatever she wishes and hopes for in her head and however she feels greatly impacts how they react to the world around them and the people around them. So, women, you have to be choosy about the people that you're around, because the energy and attention you receive from any given person in the first place, they're gonna make the choices they're gonna make regardless sometimes of what you put out anyway too. So you have to be aware of that, and you have to be a little bit guarded about your own energy and vulnerable people like children's energy, and watch out for that and take that responsibility. But so you gotta watch out for the energy you take in, because as women, I think that you multiply that. I think women are very artistic naturally and imaginative. So and men can take on those qualities too. I think male artists in recent history too, have just prevailed better because they're men. And that's really fucked up. When really I think women are more inclined towards art. And then there's guys, some friends that I know, who also are like that though, but I think that they're more sensitive people. And funny because a lot of them are, can have long-term relationships and stuff with women and get along better with women. So there's that. I don't know. The edibles are kicking in a little bit. But yeah. Like, the nature of art itself is taking something from reality and expressing that. What the fuck else are you gonna paint? Something that you didn't get from your experiences in this world that you've taken in, and I don't know, like it's kind of like, as an artist, you can be like a filter of reality that filters that and create something new within yourself out of that. So you can see how that would be something women would rule in by the nature of them. So, and honestly, I think that the way that we're raised in America a lot of times is it's just channeled into things like makeup and stuff, and girls are told, like, do that, and that makes sense based on history. Like, that's something that men appreciate more from women than other things that they could be channeling their artistic abilities into. So this is really, like, about women empowerment in society. It really, really is. Okay. Okay. Anyway. I'm enjoying this rain. Women are more also inclined to social justice, which is funny because in history and human, and like I just talked about, like, women are more social creatures, and that's just like part of evolution. So, that's a place where women belong, and that's something that they rule in a way. And, like, look back, even when women had way less rights too, compared to men, like in Black history in America. And I feel, it sits wrong with me that a lot of people refer to it as Black history for some reason. Like, I feel like that's such a colorist, label anyway, in a way, so it's, like, weird to have it in such a professional subject to be so commonly used. But anyway, like, you think about, like, Rosa Parks and Harriet Tubman. Those are some of the first people you think of in terms of, like, the Black rights. I don't know. I don't even know well, that was not the, whatever. But those were women, like, that's just, women care a lot about, like, the people around them and, like, the sanctity of everybody and shit. So women care about that, so women will do shit like that. So women also, they don't get enough credit, and they're not given the right opportunities for who they are and their natural inclinations and the power that they hold regarding that. Women also aren't given the credit when we like, literally when we talk about like the two people I mentioned. It's like, I don't think there's enough conversation, including in the public school system when they teach it, that credits the fact that they were women, like, and like puts that together for you, teaching you as a kid or whatever too, like like how crazy that is with how things were back then. They don't put that together for you, and there's so many things you could teach and bring up based off of that concept too. It just makes no sense to me. I don't know. So yeah. I'm trying to think of what to say next. I mean, like, people don't treat women this way because of, like, negative patterns, cycles repeating. But women, I mean, like, are the most valuable, like, living, like, precious thing to men. To men that see things correctly. To men that aren't demented and going about causing destruction in society and hurting anybody that's alive. Any living thing. Where the fuck was I going with that? Women aren't really aware, though. Like, they're super... Like, women don't have a lot of self-awareness, to be honest. A lot of times. Like, they don't realize, like, the social power that they hold. And that ties all the way into just the general concept that's true of, like, women are more social creatures. They're more socially intelligent. They're more socially intelligent. I think that's one of the things that makes women kind of what they are. And that's funny because that makes me think of, like, a transgender woman that I know. A woman now, not a kid. But, like, someone I've known a long time. Where it's like she was always more socially inclined. And she just was more of a social creature even before she realized she was transgender, like, when we were kids still. So, I mean, it's just interesting to me. You know, a lot of transgender people, you will notice, and you'll notice about yourself if you are, like, it's not like the gender roles that are put onto us for, like, weird reasons, like colors. It's kind of like, you might be just more inclined to understand things in the gender that you feel as though, like, you just fit into. So, yeah. And no, being transgender isn't caused by or because you're gonna fit into any given, like, standards better. Because, like I said, there's people that aren't transgender, that are born a sex and remain that sex, you know, that are just more inclined or better towards certain things or aspects of the opposite sex to them. That makes people unique. And I've talked about this in another video, but humans are all about being unique. Like your fingerprint. That's how unique all of you are. Everything about you is that unique. There's not going to be a single fucking living person ever that's going to be the exact same photocopy of you. Maybe that's where cloning becomes an issue. Like, if that ever happens, or has happened, and we just don't know. Cloning, like, that's just human cloning would mean that, you know, somebody would be born with, or a clone of you, I don't even know, would have the exact same everything. It's not possible. It could be, like the concept of a clone for what it is can't be possible, because it could not possibly have the same thinking process that you would, because something would go faulty if you still existed with a clone of yourself. So a clone would have to be different from you, at least in here. So, but therefore it also wouldn't be a complete clone. It would be like a mimicry. Which is interesting. But then there's that concept of, like, Astro Boy, where he's like I was like obsessed with Astro Boy for years as a kid, because I mean, for one, I'm Asian, so it was like a comfort thing for some reason. It was like, I don't know. I also just like older cartoons, but anyway, what Astro Boy, he like it was a new body that was supposed to just like give the same appearance of Tobio, but like what was the exact same like they put his memory into Astro Boy or some shit. They put like Astro Boy's like whole mind into Toby, or they put Tobio's whole mind into Astro Boy, so that Astro Boy could still be alive, but his body was a robot. That to me would be better than a clone, though. But I feel like something would go wrong where it's like there's no way you can transfer a soul, though. So then it's just like a robot, like the all the workings of the brain without soul. So it would even have emotion, but I think that there would be something missing because of the nature of life and how life exists. Like there has to be a way to like get to a point where like in conversation you can like semi-prove that souls do somehow exist in some way. That's what I'm trying to get to. I mean, what comes to my mind initially with that would be like, like your ability to go against the grain or like have a different choice than what your natural instincts would be based off of your environment. So when somebody does something where we've made words for it, like being extremely noble or brave, and that, like to go out of your like say your mind knows that you're putting yourself into a dangerous situation, like a warrior, like I don't think a brain without a conscience would like do something that the brain itself couldn't fully figure out. I don't really know. Like it goes against logic and reasoning that other animals besides humans don't have. So I guess what I'm pointing out is it really a matter of like a higher intelligence level that we see in ourselves that other animals don't have, or is it a matter of like a soul possessing a body, you know? But when you think about like how a human body is and all of the anatomy and the inner workings of it and reasonings for it to exist the way that it does and have evolved to be like this, it kind of makes sense that it would be something that you could possess in here to operate this to manipulate reality. You know? That just kind of makes sense and fits with how things are. But we just think of it as like the brain is what controls everything. But the brain is so complicated we don't understand it. So how can we assume that we understand it if we know that we don't understand it? What the fuck? Damn. Bro, I'm ending this.